to the Hookup on Music with your host, Tony Bird.
Hello, everyone out there, and welcome to episode number 98. In just a second, my guest Mike is going to be joining me for an amazing conversation. But before we get to that, I just want to thank you all for joining us this year. We just got probably one more episode, and then we will start the new year at episode 100. Got a lot of new stuff planned, new different things. Going to be great. New music I know is coming out in 2025. Later tonight, because you're probably, if you're listening to this right when it comes out around 7:30, you will definitely need to check out. We will be doing an in-depth dive on Gremlins on the At the Show podcast. Classic Christmas film. But without further ado, please let me bring the man to the table. Mike, what is up, my man? How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me back on, Tony.
No problem. Not a problem. Number 3, the magical number 3. I think this is going to be a good time. Before we get started, you a fan of Gremlins?
Oh yeah,
It's gotta be. You know,
I have to say it's been a long time since I've seen Gremlins, but
that's what I was just honestly saying to my wife. I was saying to my wife, I said I haven't seen the movie in like 18 years, but I've watched it so much as a kid. I still could probably act it out in your front lawn half the movie, and that theme song always is stuck in my head. You know, I mean,
for sure,
hard to get that one out. But let's get started with what have you been listening to? Anything new on the new front recently?
Not too much new stuff as far as 2024 goes, but I've been kind of doing a deep dive
in the realms of just listening to new that are maybe you haven't experienced before.
Yeah, so I've been kind of getting more into some Japanese psych rock from like the 70s.
Ooh.
So one of my favorite bands is the band Ghost out of Japan. Not sure if you're familiar with them or not.
You shared with me it was like I think it was like a bunch of pieces of music. I think it was like a year ago. It was a while ago. It was because you were very specific that it wasn't the new Ghost that is currently touring. This is a different Ghost, which
yes.
Which honestly, just hearing the style of music, you said it was Japanese psych rock.
Yeah,
that sounds like an amazing genre. Let's learn a little more about it. What's your description of Japanese psych rock?
So, I mean, it's quite influenced by, British blues and stuff like that, kind of the late 60s. So like Mayall, Blues Breakers, and Clapton, Cream, stuff like that. It's taking that sound and making it just way more experimental and just a lot of long pieces. Just when I played a track off of this album on my show maybe a month ago on Chirp Radio. But the band is Green Milk from the Planet Orange.
Ooh.
Is the band name, and they're not from the 70s. They formed in 2001. But this album came out in 2005. It's City Calls Revolution is the album name, and it's bookended by 2 long pieces that I think one is almost 40 minutes and the other one's like 20 minutes, I want to say, but there's 2 8-minute pieces in the middle, and it just goes all different directions, but they rip for sure. So,
and what was that band called again?
Green Milk from the Planet Orange.
Green Milk from the Planet Orange. All right, here we go. You know what? They I see something here that they got. You know what? Some of these tracks, these bands that you're talking about tonight, I'm going to try to put together a playlist for the listeners out there to try to get a little experiment into some of these bands that you're talking about, because what's crazy is I wish I was in 7th grade again, and I wish you were telling me about this band, because
right.
The truth of the matter is I would be probably a touring musician, because it wasn't until when I started to play the guitar, I was like into the music that I really don't even listen to anymore. And I really wish I was into the music I listen to now back then, because I don't think I would have stopped. And a band you're describing is sounds exactly up my alley. But that's definitely really, 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 really cool. What were your favorite releases throughout the year? Anything you have?
I've got a whole thing here I've been trying to break down this week, but yeah, some of my favorite ones have been. So this one was released way back in January, but the band Sprints, they're out of they're from the UK, and they released a really good album this year, and I don't know why the title's escaping me at the moment, but it's
what kind of
just
band
straight
are they?
ripping.
What's their genre?
They're kind of like punk influence, but they're not like straight up punk. It's
Letter to Self is the
Letter
album,
to Self. Thank you. Yes.
which I'm honestly, I got a paper here, I got a pen, I got my playlist. We're gonna get all of these out there, because honestly, I'm is equal, because you never shared this with me, so I'm always excited to hear something new. That one sounds cool.
Yeah, so that one's really good. It's a no skip front to back, just really good.
I before we move on to your next pick, I mean, I still have to thank. And oh, are you there? I'm sorry.
Yep.
I have to thank you that the invite that you had reached out to me to be able to go to Riot Fest and be able to see that concert, and you were able to see some really awesome bands there this year.
Yeah, for sure. And Sprints was one of them. It was really cool to be able to see them in a torrential downpour. So that was really cool.
Rain. I've honestly only seen it in YouTube videos, but it always looks like it's a good time.
Yeah, it was definitely an experience.
I used to have the VHS for Woodstock '94.
Yeah,
and like Nine Inch Nails and Primus and Green Day, they're all playing in the mud, and you were like, wow, looks like it's cool. But now that I'm in my 40s, I don't know if sliding around in the mud, I don't know if my bones I don't know if my bones can handle that. But still, very cool though to be able to see that. But what else you got on your list?
Obviously the Waxahachie record that came out this year is in heavy contention for probably my overall favorite, but that was just a fantastic step forward from the album she put out in 2020. It's still kind of that country Americana rock, but just taken a step further, and just a lot more. Not really wrestling with demon lyrics, but it's still that kind of internal life experience. But it's more of like a love record. So that one was really good, and obviously, she's one of my favorite artists for a long time. And I'm going back to live shows. I feel I was extremely lucky to catch two of her three shows that she played in Chicago this year. So the one she did at the Salt Shed, that one had been planned and all that stuff, but I got to see her at the Empty Bottle for the Tiger's Blood release party, and that was fantastic. And then Riot Fest, having the backstage access and being able to watch her set from like side stage, that was pretty amazing.
What's the size of the Empty Bottle? Is it a bigger? Is it like as big as? I mean, what's the size? Do you think?
I think it's 400.
400. Okay.
Yeah.
That's I've always heard about that one, and I've wanted to. What's the word I'm looking to go to that one, because it always seems to be a really cool place to see a show.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite venues in the city. So,
it's back to you just Waxahachie. How do you pronounce it?
Waxahachie.
Waxahachie. Okay, so the whole Tiny Desk concert.
Yes.
It's crazy. You sent me the video. And earlier, not more than an hour and a half, I'm watching YouTube, and it popped up at the bottom, and Mike, I thought of you. And what's great is that you sent it to me, and I didn't want to be like, I saw it and thought of you. So I knew we were going to talk now, so I get to do that now. But that was really cool too.
Yeah, they do some really cool stuff with the tiny desk. Just bringing in interesting acts.
You know, I don't know how familiar you are with the band or have seen them, but recently TV on the Radio has been celebrating one of their albums, and they recently, it was like a week ago, and I think that's why the other one popped up, because I had just been watching that one. Devo's been on there recently. They've had some really awesome artists pop up on there.
Yeah, for sure. And just some you wouldn't expect. Like
Yeah.
they had Guar on there,
Yeah.
which was a lot of fun. They did they had 311 on there for March 11th. Trying to think of who
if
else
you
they
say
did.
of anything that I wish I could have been a part of, and is standing with you and Adam and watching Guar, that would have been honestly, I could imagine me telling you that would probably have been one of my top things of the year. If seeing that, that would have been awesome. Guar is somebody I've always wanted to see, and I've not caught them, so that would be a cool one to see.
Yeah, that was an experience.
But have you ever been to the Park West?
Not for a show.
Because I'm curious how that venue is, because I see Elvis Costello is coming there, and I was like, I've never
really?
been there. I don't know how big that place is. If it's like the size of like a House of Blues, but I'll have to look into that. What else you got on your list?
Also in contention for my number one overall is the Cindy Lee record, Diamond Jubilee.
Ooh, okay. Tell us about that one.
It is all over the place. So there's like some 50s rock. There's some straight like synth groove tracks, some straight up like rocker tracks, and it's I think that one's going to be talked about beyond like a best of 2024. I think that one's an instant classic. Not only just the album, but also just kind of what surrounded the album as well. Its release was just dropped onto some like hokey, janky looking MySpace site. And also I think it was uploaded to YouTube, and it just kind of got word of mouth that, hey, the new Cindy Lee record is out. And it's still not even on stream. It got uploaded to streaming a couple days ago, but it was apparently an unauthorized upload. So it's now back off streaming. And I think it even just got like a limited physical release. But between the rollout and then also like when the tour started for it, there was just so much buzz around the shows and how good the shows were. And then right before the Chicago show, the tour got canceled. And I don't know if they ever said why the tour ended up getting canceled, but and then Cindy Lee did released a single with Panda Bear from Animal Collective as well. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, I think that album being, just this expansive double disc 2.5 hour album, and the rollout, the tour, kind of the buzz that surrounded it all year. I think it's going to be talked about for some time as a classic for sure.
Everything you've described about this album does sound like it's very awesome. Just like earlier when you were talking about Ghost and long songs, I'm the king of long songs. I love long songs, but I love short songs too. I mean, I love any songs, but I hear a lot of people are like, get to the point. It's like a 4-minute song, and I'm like, come on, man. Like, so I like songs that take you on a journey. No matter what that journey is. It's good. Some songs could be more in the lyrical vein, some could be more musical, so it's cool in that regard. But I'll have to check out that Sydney. What was the last name again?
Cindy Lee.
Sydney Lee. Okay. Yeah, all All right. What else you got?
So another one would be the Cure album.
Oh, yes.
It was really good.
Very, very good. Very, very good album.
That was the
And it was so good. It's got me digging back through the past catalogs too, because I've missed a lot.
yeah.
And I am really blown away by, again, another what have I missed? I can't believe I've missed this. Because there's a lot of music is drenched in psychedelia too. There's a lot of that going on, which when I first heard of them, or the first song I ever heard of them was Friday I'm in Love, when I watched MTV, and I was like, and then I listened to Metallica. So obviously I wasn't like, I like these guys.
Right.
I was like, these guys are not cool at all. Now, I mean, I would listen to them just as much as I would listen to anybody else. And that's, again, the ignorance of being young. I see it. I still see it in the youth. You know, you like something now, but you also have to have an open mind, because if I did back then, as I stated earlier, I probably would have taken the guitar a little bit more seriously than I did.
Yeah.
But that album, though, that new album, very good.
Yeah, I don't know why I was kind of surprised at how good it was, but for some reason I was taken aback by like how good it was. Actually, you know, just like, wow, this is some of their best stuff they've ever done.
Excellent production work.
Yeah.
Very, very excellent. And what I'm realizing digging back through their albums is the bassist Simon Gallup, who's been on pretty much majority of their albums. I mean, that bass is driving on a lot of those songs, which makes the guitar and everything else come to life. Which I've been around for a lot of bands, and The Cure, I've seen their past releases, and it's always return to form, return to form. This is probably the first time I've heard a band actually sound really, really, really good for when you wouldn't think they would be as good as possibly they are right now.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's kind of how I felt, and about and I had no expectations for this album. I'm talking about very zero. But the Rolling Stones came out with a new album this year, and I was shocked at, honestly, some of the tracks and how better it sounded than 80, 70-year-olds recording, But I also know that the studio is a very magical place too. And I've heard the live recordings of some of that stuff, and it doesn't sound anywhere near as good as the studio stuff. But hey,
Gotcha.
That's how it is sometimes. And also, you can take any great band and put them in the cavernous Soldier Field, and it can make you sound not very good. I've seen it. I've been there, and it's, that's why it's cool to see shows at, like, the Park West, which I'm sure, what was the last show that you attended?
I went to a show on last Friday. So I saw Seema Cunningham, who is half of the group Phenome.
Oh, okay.
And both of those, the Phenome record and the Seema Cunningham record, are also on my favorites of the year. So the Seema Cunningham one was to celebrate the release of her High Roller album, which is really, really good. Some rockers, some Americana, some Nilsson inspired stuff, which if you're into Nilsson, you'll like.
Nielsen Schmielsen is one of my favorite albums of all time. So I was gonna bring up earlier, it's kind of, I always go back, and I know there's a lot more that have done it, like the Beatles, some of like White Album. It's like goes all over the place. I like stuff like that. I like as you described, a lot of these new albums, it's like, well, they can do a little bit of this, they can do a little bit of that, and it mixes it all together to sound like a great album.
So, and yeah, that Seema Cunningham show is really, really good. Just some fantastic players were in her band. Spencer Tweedy, Jeff Tweedy's son, was drumming. And Liam Kazar, he's another Chicago musician. He was in the band as well. trying to think who else was in the band. Macy Stewart, who's the other half of Phenome.
Ooh.
She was also playing violin in the band. And she kind of plays in a lot of bands around Chicago. She goes by Aunt Kelly. She was playing bass. And then there were a few other people in the band. So it was a really good show. And she played a cover of Warren Zevon's Accidentally Like a Martyr.
Ooh,
which has always been one of my favorites of his since one of the times I saw Bob Dylan, he played a cover of that.
Which is funny because earlier when I was going to bring up as a song with lyrics, earlier I listened to Hurricane, and that's like a 9-minute track, but there's like no jamming. I mean, it's but besides like the end with the violin or whatever, but the lyrics and the song tell a story, and if you could follow it, I think it's really awesome. But you ever hear of a band, and this is going to be really out of left field because I just heard of these people the other day. They're called Low, L-O-W, they're like from Minnesota, a lo-fi group. They had some song that was on the radio the other day on XRT. It was a Christmas song, and I never heard of these guys. It was called Just Like Christmas, but the female, she played drums in the band like Meg White, and you don't hear a lot of stuff like that. And I wish bands, and honestly, I thought of you again because I'm like, I'm going to ask him, and I bet you know who these guys are because where are they? Some of these bands slip under my radar, and it seems like they've been around forever. It's always cool when you can still stumble upon them now.
So what tour was it? A Wilco. I saw Wilco. I think it was the Sky Blue Sky tour, and Low opened up for Wilco.
Oh, look at that.
She, Mimi Parker, who passed away, unfortunately, but she didn't play a kit. She just had like drums kind of surrounding her, but she played standing up.
Which is crazy because again, if you listen to studio stuff, that's what I was telling you again. It sounds bigger sometimes even when you see it live, because in the studio version of that Just Like Christmas song, she's not playing like a drum kit, but you could hear different drums going on.
Yeah.
Cool.
And Alan Sparhawk, her husband, who's the male counterpart in Low, he put out an album this year too. That's really good.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
He used a lot of vocoder on it, not because he can't sing, because he obviously can sing, but it was more to add. It was more in the way like how like Future uses the vocoder and kind of the
to make it to part of the sound something different.
Yeah, to give it like some color.
Yeah.
And Kurt Wagner did the same thing too on the Lamb Chop album. I can't remember what Lamb Chop album it was, but the opening track was like 12 minutes. On that album, let me remember what that album's called.
Really, though, it's cool that you know all that information just based upon me hearing that one song. That's awesome. Cool, you got to see him too. Sky Blue Sky tour. That's a great album.
Yeah. And one of my favorite Wilco albums. I don't know if it gets the love, but I give it the love. So
I really like their last album quite a lot.
Yes, Cousin was really, really good.
I'm trying to remember here. Was that this year? No, that was last year. Yeah, I feel like it was this year, but it was last year. Can't believe 20.
That Lamb Chop album that I was talking about earlier is called Flotus.
Flotus, okay. But definitely, you have any shows on the books coming up?
Nothing at the OCs, but that's not until October. They're doing their yearly Thalia Hall run, so I'll be there in October for both shows. But that's all I've got at the moment.
No, I don't know, Mike. Do you remember the band Filter at all by chance?
Yeah.
They're playing for free right over here at the casino, the Hard Rock Casino on
Are they?
New Year's Eve. if you happen to show up, it says at 11 p.m. they're playing for free, which I'm like, again, another situation where I was like, man, I wish I was younger, because I would definitely go. I might still go to that. I don't know. I'm trying to talk my wife into it, but I like just seeing any show, and that's why this next year I'm going to make the effort we're definitely going to hit up a show or something this year, and get it first run of some of this experience, because really, really cool. Some of these shows that you've been to this year, definitely some good ones.
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky this year. I was just trying to count through and go through all the shows I've seen this year, and just being able to see, up and coming bands, to seeing legends like Mary Timony. I got to see her this year, and Letitia Sadier, who's the co-founder of Stereolab. I got to see her this year.
Well, that's the thing. I know Stereolab, but I was not familiar with the player, so it's cool. There's another one that now I've learned tonight.
Yeah, that was a really good show as well. Yeah, I can't even keep track of what I've seen this year. Just I've been really lucky. So,
very, very eclectic. What the music, if just the listeners out there, if you could hear, you're listening to everything from, as you said, Japanese psych rock, all the way, down to Americana. And I think that's what I like about this show is I could listen to anything. It sounds like you are also that way. You know what I mean? To a point. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to listen to, the new pop country album because nobody wants to listen to that. But, that's, or I'm sorry if you do listen to that. I'm sorry if I've
it's
offended
not my bag.
Well, that's it too. A lot of people, I just like when people listen to music, because I meet a lot of people out there, and adults are the ones that really bother me the most when they're like, no, I don't really listen to music. Like, what do you mean you don't listen to music? Like, could you imagine you or me or never listening to music, and like someone came up to you and it was like, you listen to music, and now everything you just said tonight, all the shows you went to, all that music is just out of your brain, and you're like, what's replacing it? Like, what are we doing instead?
Yeah, I mean, it's just all around you, even just in a way, just the ambient sounds and all that stuff that are just around you daily are making some sort of, rhythmic pattern. So it's just constantly around you.
That's true. Or the movies you watch, the shows you watch, the theme songs, it's stupid. Every time I just see the word Friends, that stupid theme song plays in my head, and I gotta say, stop. But real quick here before we roll out here in the next couple minutes, how do you feel about Christmas music, Mike? You a fan?
Yeah. I can't do it before Thanksgiving, but usually
me either.
Usually on the way home from family Thanksgiving, I'll pop on 93.9 and get a little spirit going.
I've this year I think I like it a little bit more than I ever have. Like, there's some of these songs, and I think I'm going to do it on an episode coming up. Some of these songs I don't know a lot about the background, but man, I've heard them like 1,000 times. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, I know like some of the like Feliz Navidad. I know who does that, and but like Jingle Bell Rock. Yesterday I had to go. I went to a play, and they were singing the Jingle Bell Rock, and I couldn't tell you who actually sings that song. And I know if you were to say it, I would be like, oh yes, that's who says it. But that's a song that's played a lot since I've been a kid, and I know a lot about music, and I don't know anything about that song. So
yeah, I couldn't tell you who most of the singers are,
but like nameless songs, but like they stick in your head.
Exactly. And I get into the classics more so than kind of the modern songs. But Last Christmas from Wham, that is a banger.
You know what? You're absolutely right. What's really crazy? I said that 4 days ago to my wife. I said, you know what? That song's actually not that bad. And like, honestly, I've never felt that way until this year. And I think what it is his vocal line with the keyboards in the background. and it like really like, tell me there's something special, like the way it excellent track.
It's so well done. The production's fantastic, and it's just a really good pop Christmas song.
Really, that was because that's exactly I've been thinking that same exact thing. Another one is that I've been listening to. I don't know if you've ever heard it. I'm trying to pull up the exact. Father Christmas by the Kinks. You ever hear this song?
No.
If you've never heard this song, Mike, please find it, blast it out loud. The lyrics are amazing. It's pretty much the Kinks mocking Christmas, because saying that all it has to do with is the lyrics are, Father Christmas, give us your money. Don't mess around with these silly toys. Just give us your money. Like, pretty much like, we don't want nothing. We just want your cash. But again, it's cool when, and I know there's been a lot of punk rock Christmas songs, but it's, again, when we've talked about the many different genres, it's cool because there's just so many different Christmas songs. You're going to find one that makes you feel halfway decent.
I'll have to check that one out.
Please do. And if you even want to get crazier, pop on the music video on YouTube from 78, because, it's cool. Like, that's my favorite thing to do, is to find the actual old music videos of these songs and sit and watch them, or watch like the Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
Like recently, I like, one of my favorite shows is WXRT does it's called Flashback on Saturdays, where they start from 9 to 12 and they just pick a year and they go deep on some songs. So I heard this song by Human League I never had heard before, called Love Something. But you go and you watch the videos and you're like, you feel like you're back in 83 again, and I love that feeling when I watch that stuff. So check that video out, Mike, please.
I'll have to look that up. That sounds hysterical.
But thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
I appreciate it. Are you have a show coming up this weekend? Or is it next weekend?
I think this weekend will be probably not a show for me, but I should be back on the 30th.
Excellent.
For my show on Chirp.
We will definitely be promoting it, because amazing that you have a radio show. Very cool, and very cool that you've taken the time out to chill tonight, Mike. So thank you very much.
Yeah, say 2 more appearances and I'll need my 5-timers hookup on music jacket.
Well, what's awesome is, I was just going to ask you in the new year, can we expect you some more? And it sounds like I'm going to get your jacket tailored. It's going to get started. And we're definitely going to hit that up here in the next year. But I definitely appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you again.
Everyone else out there, please stay tuned tonight. We will be coming on with At the Show. We'll be talking Gremlins. It's going to be a good time. Also, check out everything else on the Sadistic Penguin Studios YouTube channel. It's getting drafty in here. I've already been told that January 21st, I guess I'm going to be on a musical episode where we're going to be drafting like our ultimate band, which at a later date, Mike, it seems like I'm going to ask you that question. You get to draft your who, and you can start thinking about this now, because it might take you a couple weeks. If you could put together your ultimate band with a singer, a guitarist, drummer, bass, keyboardist, whoever, who would be in that band? So, Mike, start thinking about that, because I'm going to come back to you on that one. And everyone else out there, please stay tuned. Thank you again for joining us. We will be back next week, and we will continue to keep talking awesome music. So everyone out there, have a great Christmas, and we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you for listening. Please look out for the audio version wherever you jam.